welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Richard Stray along with Bob Gibson. Randy Rosenman will join us shortly. Chris Ricks will be back next week. And Anthony White's out with his Heisman, man. He's running around town, showing it to everybody.
Right, polishing it up real nice.
Yeah, come on, if I had one, I'd be doing the same thing.
I'd be doing the same exact thing.
That would be my life.
Celebrate that forever.
I would make money on that thing every day I could, and Anthony White is out there doing
Signing
just
autographs,
that.
right? Signing
Absolutely.
autographs.
Hey, one great thing about living in Southern California is the national championship usually goes through here, and it has the last 3 or 4 years. And another good thing is number 2 team always comes into Southern California to knock off number 1, and it happened again this weekend. And Mater Dei did not let it happen. Let's go to the top 10 and take a look at how everybody did. And at the top of that chart, you're going to see Mater Dei defeated St. Francis Academy 34-18. Bob, this game was over before it started. 24-6 at halftime, man.
You know, these hypothetical national rankings, I don't know what they mean. I mean, number 1 versus number 2. I guess it sounds good, but clearly Mater Dei, the better team here. You're right. This thing was over.
They're better than everybody.
And now, the defense for St. Francis, okay, they had some good shots and they look like a pretty good team, but no match for Mater Dei at all. One thing I liked about this is there's some video going around of Bryce Young. His teammates coming off, he sticks around, he's high-fiving everybody.
Absolutely.
This kid's a real leader. I mean, you talk about everything he can do on the field, but it's off the field too. I mean, again, I'm not throwing shots at any other quarterbacks or anybody else that's at Mater Dei, but just concentrating just on Bryce Young. This kid is a leader. He's a great player, and this is why we talk about him so much, because it's hard to find kids that have it all like he does.
Yep. It is what it is. Mater Dei rolling on, retaining the number 1 position.
They certainly do.
Look at our national rankings this week, too, because we have some stuff to actually talk about. Right. Can't talk about that in the first week or predict it early on. It doesn't matter. All right, continuing on, we see St. John Bosco defeated Our Lady of Good Counsel from Maryland. By the way, those guys were the number 3 team in that state. Not a bad win for St. John Bosco. Corona Centennial got back on the winning track, defeated Liberty of Nevada 63-29. Big win for they. Mission Viejo beat Villa Park 59-0.
That just
2 weeks in a row, Bob, and they fell out of the No Love Club top 10 for that.
Look, I hate to say it, but I think Villa Park, just too much, too early for them. I think that the schedule they've played, I think these kids are probably gassed at this point, because I don't think they would lose that game normally 59-0 like that.
Well, I give it to them. They played Mater Dei last 2 weeks ago, lost 63-0, come out this week, lose to Mission Viejo. But Mission Viejo is the number 4 team on our top 10. They're pretty good. I'm surprised they're not in the national top 20, Bob, because they're going to make a lot of noise. Don't be surprised. They upset some of more of these Trinity League schools. Moving on, Jay Serra defeated Milton of Georgia 17-14. Big win for the General. Coming in from San Antonio, Texas. Right. Grace Brethren beat Oak Hills 48-0. I saw Grace Brethren winning that game, but shutting out Oak Hills, Bob, 48-0. Really?
Grace Brethren just continues to roll. It's like this big old boulder that just keeps rolling and rolling faster and faster. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year people are talking about, Bob, why don't we get a Grace Brethren Mater Dei matchup?
People laughed at us 2 years ago. We started talking about Grace Brethren.
I know.
Then last year they go to state, they win it, and they're still laughing. Yeah, laugh now, funny boy, because they're right there with the big boys.
They're at that point now where we can talk about that. We could talk about, hey, a hypothetical Grace Brethren Mater Dei. I don't think Grace Brethren will want to come out on that end because I don't think they'd win it, but nonetheless, I think they could be competitive.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Narbonne from the city section defeated Orange Lutheran 38-0. We're going to talk more about that with Randy when he gets out here to do the city section report, because we're going to need to talk about Sarah. They defeated Long Beach Poly 27-24. So number 7 and number 8 are going to meet next week. Sarah and Narbonne.
Good matchup. Really good matchup.
Yep. Number 9 Norco, they beat Vista Marietta 49-28, and Calabasas defeated La Habra 46-35. You expected that. That
one surprised me a little bit. I thought I gave La Habra a really good chance to win that game, but Calabasas has been up and down.
Did you hear what Bob just said? Everybody knows. We tell you week after week. King Hyperbole, kiss of death.
Come on.
And he picked La Habra, and guess what? They got beat. We knew they were going to get. Come on, it's Calabasas, man. Everybody.
They're good. They're good.
All right, let's talk about 2 games that happened over the weekend. Of course, Alamany over Oaks Christian 44-7. Didn't see it coming. Alamany hadn't played anybody. They played their collective opponents were 0-3, I believe, on the season. And they come out and they hand it to Oaks Christian, man. And those guys were one of the favorites to get back at least to the semifinals in the big division.
That's one of those ones that was a head scratcher, right? You thought,
yeah.
Man, you saw Oaks kind of maybe getting over in this game, and Alamany to come out and dominate like that, right? Now you're kind of scratching your head and you're going, okay, how does this league shape? We're going to find out. It's crazy. What we thought we knew, we don't know.
And we thought San Juan Hills might handle Edison, not in that South Coast, Bob. San Juan Hills been streaking, but Edison handled them. Edison's handling their business. In the absence of Coach Dave White, who retired, a lot of people thought Edison might slip a little bit. Well, guess what? Doesn't look like they're slipping to me, Bob.
Look, I was hyping San Juan Hills a week ago, right? I was telling you how much that program has become one of the top teams in South Orange County. But you're right, Edison dug their heels in.
Yeah, they did.
They're showing they're not going away. The Chargers are not going away, and San Juan Hills still got a little work to do.
All right, Bob, we got to roll through the No Love Club. Let's put up the graph. Let's take a quick look now. Corona Del Mar still top spot over Lakewood, 49-7.
Should be the third-ranked team in the entire top 10.
All right, Bob, we got you. But they're number one. Why would you want them third-ranked here, Bob? Come on now. Northview over Don Lugo, 41-6. Culver City beat Warren, 56-28. It was Cypress, blanking Sonora. Now here's where we have all the stuff that went down. We had like 5 teams lose now.
And they lost.
Catella was number 2. They are now number 5. All right, they lost to Marina, 21-15. Marina's a huge school. Catella's not, but doesn't matter. They got beat. You got to beat everybody they put in front of you. Western defeated Anaheim 49-0. Lawndale beat Lusians 35-8. South Hills lost to Monrovia, but we all know Monrovia's
good.
Monrovia's always good.
Yeah, Monrovia had a couple of years there where, but they're right back now. That's a top team in the SGV.
Monrovia doesn't have a good team. They have a good program.
Yes.
There's a difference. And that program's good year in and year out. So it's no real big deal if you lose to them, because just about everybody does every year, Bob. Let's continue on looking at the No Love Club. We have Cal High jumping in to number 9. They defeated Southeast 35-0. Cal High's 3-0 in the season. They're beating up on everybody right now from the Del Rio League.
Their defense looks good.
Ocean View lost to Beckman 28-21. It was a good game for Ocean View. They stay in the top 10 at number 10. And again, to talk about, as we talked about earlier, Villa Park dropped out. Man, they didn't even show up to Mission Viejo.
Got blasted by Mission Viejo.
But again, they might have been too beat up playing Modern Day the week earlier.
And I think that's what happened. I think you couple it with Mission Viejo, such a good program, such a good team. You put that together with, I think Villa Park's just gassed here at this point. They really need a break, I think, because when they get into their league, that's where things are really going to be a lot easier for them. So I give them a lot of credit, for playing this kind of. They pulled a La Mirada, playing a really tough non-league schedule.
That's all right.
So I give them a lot of credit. I think it's going to work in their favor come playoff time.
We'll see, Bob.
I hope so.
Every time you pick somebody like that, stuff happens. All right, real quick, let's take a look at the nation's top 10, as seen by us here. Okay, Modern Day, of course, defeated number 2 St. Francis Academy, beat them handily. St. Francis, I credit them for coming here to play, and they played at Bosco, man. What happened to Eddie Westfield?
The 3 games were at Bob. Bosco hosted the 3 games.
Yeah, they did.
And the 3 Trinity teams won, right? Modern Day, Bosco, and J. Sarah
all
won those games, right? They all won.
Yes, sir. Okay, continuing on. Bosco will be number 2, followed by St. Louis, Hawaii. They beat Bishop Gorman this week. Bishop Gorman was ranked 10th. So I like seeing these top 10s playing teams in the top 10, or at least the top 20. You can't be a champion, mythical national champion, if you don't play out of your state, which is, I don't understand why these other guys are picking teams that don't even leave their county.
Like these Texas schools?
Yeah, they just play the teams down the street here and crown themselves nuts. You can't do that. You must play out of your comfort zone. You have to travel. You're going to have to beat somebody. Like Modern Day and Bosco, they travel everywhere, and they play the number 1s, the number 2s, the number 3s in the country, and that's why these guys are good and they're national champions. Continuing on, we have St. Louis, as I mentioned, beat Gorman. St. Thomas Aquinas defeated De La Salle. That's their big on their resume. They're number 4. That's their big win. That was the first game of the season. St. Francis Academy, of course, they just lost to Modern Day. No slouch in that. Their signature game is they beat Central of Florida. St. Joe's Regional, they beat J. Sarah.
Right.
So, man, they're playing people. And again, as you mentioned, playing a Trinity League school, you cannot beat it nationwide. They're followed by Duncanville, Texas, Gonzaga of Washington, D.C., Lakeland, Florida, and then Concord de La Salle in the 10th position. All right, Bob, let's take a look at some games of high interest this week. Let's start off with Corona Centennial, number 19 in the nation, taking on Long Beach Poly. We've talked infinitum about Poly, Bob. I don't understand how come they cannot compete at a top 10 level.
I don't know what to make of either one of these teams right now, to be honest with you. Centennial, who would just run the board and kind of get there to the playoffs, and then would struggle against Bosco or Modern Day. But I just feel like, and after seeing Centennial, they're just not quite the same Centennial this year.
Something's missing
for whatever
this year.
reason. But we said the same thing about Poly, right? Something's missing with the Jackrabbits too. So we'll see. Somebody's going to win this game, obviously, and it's going to be a big win for whoever does come away with it. I think I like Centennial a little bit more here. I think just have a little more firepower. But
Yep.
this would be a big win for Poly if they could get it. Huge win.
Another big game this week. Jay Serra taking on Calabasas, Bob. That's a big order for both of these schools. Serra's up and coming. Calabasas is kind of a mainstay now.
Look,
They've been going at it for about 6 or 7 years now. Pretty good.
Calabasas has been one of those teams that they're 6 through 10 in our top 10, right? They really haven't cracked that top 5. It's been a tough place for them to get to. They've been knocking on the door.
Well, they lost a game this year earlier, though. That's part of the problem.
This win would get them knocking on that door again to get into our top 5 here. We know Jay Serra's already been there, so Jay Serra's got to do a little bit more. They got to show me a little bit more, especially at home here against this very good Calabasas team. If Jay Serra wants to be taken seriously and a team that we're going to look for in the postseason, they got to show a little bit more this week. So we'll see who's going to dig down and get this one.
Okay, another big game this week is where we're at now. John Glenn is playing Western. By the way, we are coming to you from John Glenn High School. We were going to talk with Coach Lobendam, but a little tied up right now at practice, so we're going to let it slide.
They got a game plan to put in.
Absolutely, but they got Western this week, Bob, and that's going to be a tall order for anybody. Of course, you know, Western, a state contender. They have that caliber of athlete and coaching staff over at Western High School. And I don't know, man. Glenn's got a tall order this week.
Look, we know what Dan Davis has built over there at Western right now, what they're doing, right? So you're right. This is a big test here for John Glenn. That's a big win for them if they can get it, because Western's one of those teams now you circle on your schedule and you go, hey, that's a game I got to win. That's a tough program. So that's another good one here.
By the way, have you guys shot this stadium yet today? If you guys go ahead and pan around, when you guys just panned it, this is brand new here. This is what new looks
really
like.
nice.
And this is a tiny, Glenn's a very small school.
We saw this.
And they're cutting it in, but man, I remember when this was just a field and beyond this was nothing but grass. There was nothing out here. It's like orchards and stuff like that, you know? And now they got an awesome stadium. They got the new turf. It's good to see these schools get upgraded because they desperately need it. So, and hats off to the Eagles, man. We wish them well this week against Western. All right now joining us is Randy Rosenblum with the LA City Section stuff. And Randy, we're going to start off talking about Narbonne and Serra right now. Let's just start off with that because we just got done doing some of the other games of interest, and this one is definitely a game of interest.
Well, every year when they match up, it's a tremendous show for everyone. Last year it went into double overtime, and Ricky Martin kicked the PAT to win it by 1 point for Narbonne. A few years ago, I can remember the matchup when they played at Narbonne, and Serra opened up a huge lead. Narbonne rallied, took it into overtime, and Narbonne missed a 2-point conversion, and Serra won the game 41-40. And Khalil Tate, the quarterback at the time, scored 6 rushing touchdowns for Gardena Serra. So we've had 2 instant classics in the last couple of years.
Yes, sir.
So I would imagine we'll have another phenomenal game this week, although I really do like the athletes at Narbonne.
Wait, Randy, let's talk about Narbonne right now because they're like Jekyll and Hyde right now. We talked this might happen because, you know, you lose your leader of the last 30 years, Emmanuel Douglas, and now you got a new guy in there, but not really a new guy because he was an assistant, so he knows the lay of the land, but he wasn't the boss. So things change a little bit, you know, when you get the new man in there because basically you mirror your coach on the field.
I think that's true, but it's a coaching staff that has stability. The assistants have always been there. Brandon Manu Mali Una is the assistant coach that really holds them together. He's another former great college player, played in the NFL. He runs their offense, and even though they were shut down by Lone Peak, with Brandon on that staff, Narbonne is always very good offensively.
Very good indeed. All right, so this ball game, Bob, who you picking, man? I got to throw this on you now because you're the kiss of death.
I've already picked Narbonne.
I know. Bob, who you going to go with?
I want to go Serra. I'm going Serra.
Okay.
Randy, I'm taking the Cavs. I am taking the Cavs in this one. I'm taking Serra. I'm going to go out on the limb on this one.
I have to take Narbonne now because Bob took Serra. All right, I have to take Narbonne.
And this is Narbonne's first home game of the season.
Is it really?
Yeah.
First home. All right.
Okay.
All right, I got the top 10 here.
Let's do it.
No shock, Narbonne is number 1. They beat Orange Lutheran. You guys mentioned it earlier, 38-0. You know, their last 3 opponents out of the Trinity League have all fallen since 2009 to Narbonne. It's the second time since 2009 they've beaten Oulu. They also have a win in that time period against Mater Dei. So Narbonne's done very good against the Trinity League. So that bodes well to how strong they are and how good the program has been for the last decade. Let's take a look further at the poll and go to number 2 in San Pedro. It's a team that's been running the football effectively. They blow out Bell, but what I like here is the quarterback, Dylan Kordick, threw 4 touchdowns. So the passing game now complements the running game of Josh Ward. San Pedro number 2 and undefeated. Number 3, I have San Fernando, which beat Dorsey 28-6. That's always a quality win.
That's a big enough win. They should be number 2, Randy. We've been picking that for a while. I've had San Fernando 2 in that city section.
Well, I don't think that's that's a stretch. I think they're close. I think both teams, if they played each other, would probably be a picnic game. San Fernando is a terrific rushing football team. They average 238 yards per game on the ground alone. Number 4, I have Canoga Park. The Hunters are 4-0 after shutting out Verdugo Hills 41-0. They've had 3 shutouts this year: Roosevelt, Chavez, and Verdugo Hills. So 4 victories. Grant put some points up, but not enough against this Canoga Park team. So the Hunters are 4-0 with 3 shutouts. I moved Garfield, who's got a bye this week before they play Bell, back into my top 5. I have them 5th. They're 2-2 after a pulsating 52-49 victory at Crenshaw. A 32-yard field goal by Fabian Munoz with 2 seconds left to win it. What a great win for Lorenzo Hernandez's team. I shoot Banning from the Marine League all the way up to number 6.
They got a big win.
They hammered Westchester 42-7. Banning has a terrific dual threat quarterback in Jake Otto. Another guy on defense who makes a lot of stops, Brian Soto. I like Banning. They lost a couple games to Southern Section schools earlier in the year, but I've moved them all the way to 6. Number 7.
6 from what, Randy?
6 from probably 11 or 12.
Okay.
I've just been waiting to put them in there.
I haven't seen them in the top 10.
No, they have not been in my top 10.
What happened to Westchester? We were talking about Westchester.
I'm going to get to Westchester.
We're not talking basketball
They've
right
tumbled.
now, Bob.
They've
We're not
tumbled.
talking basketball.
Palisades, I move with their 3rd victory in a row. They're 3-1 now. They will play Brentwood this week. They have a nice quarterback in Forrest Brock. He's thrown 11 touchdown passes in the games that they've played. Pally is improving. I got him to number 7. Fairfax with a great win. They beat Eagle Rock in overtime. In fact, they won a couple overtimes, 36-35.
I guess Eagle Rock's not on fire anymore, huh?
No. They've been cooled off. They've been doused.
All right.
Jordan Reed's 2-point conversion won it for the Lions. They'll be tested again. They host Franklin. Franklin has the great quarterback Alfred Bobadilla, who threw 5 touchdown passes and threw for over 300 yards in a big victory, 54-2 over Huntington Park. So that's going to be a real test again for Fairfax as they host a very good Franklin team, maybe the best game in the city this week. I have Venice back in my top 10 at 9. They're 2-1. They handled their opponent easily. Venice is playing good football of recent ilk. They have a good running back in Everson Bozeman. He's rushed for 7 touchdowns this year. I have a tie for 10th. I've moved Westchester all the way down to 10.
A tie?
Yeah, with Birmingham, because Birmingham lost to St. Paul, and they're going to lose again this week to Sherman Oaks, Notre Dame. Birmingham is just playing all these Southern Section schools and getting throttled. Westchester, I really had to drop them. They lost that Banning game 42-7. They'll get a win this week. They're playing Viewport, so that's going to get them back in the win column. A couple other notes. Fairfax basketball star Keith Dinwiddie, their great guard, who was instrumental in helping them win an Open Division City title last year. He's committed to San Diego State. That's a great get for the Aztecs. And here's a note for you. The Kling of Swing, Bud Kling, long-time tennis coach at Palisades High School, now has eclipsed all the marks in California. He has 1,248 victories combined with the girls and the boys.
Jeez.
I believe he has 48 city championships combined.
Wow.
He's the winningest coach after last week in the history of California. In the history of California, the king or Kling of swing is the best. Bud Kling, congratulations. He's already in the city Hall of Fame.
There's no way anybody has even close to 48 city championships in anything else.
I don't think so. Yeah, there's some volleyball guys around the country that have won a lot of titles, but between the girls
in
and
our
boys,
city section here, though.
No. Palisades far and away. I mean,
Come on.
they're volleyball, like I said, but they haven't had the same volleyball coaches. They've swapped out with their coaches. Bud Kling has been there since the late 70s.
Wow.
So he's still going. He's in his 70s.
He's the original. Hey,
say.
Bud,
Right.
let's party. You know, he's the original.
This Bud's for you.
That's what Goldie was talking about.
This Bud is for you.
Yeah, I
Bud
gotcha.
Kling, the Kling of swing.
Wow. All right.
Great
That's
story.
heavy. Anything else, Randy? Is that the complete city
That's
section
a pretty
action?
thorough investigation of the city this week.
Don't say investigation.
Yeah, I thought you wanted to talk about Narbonne.
Don't
Come on,
say
Bud, no
investigation.
investigations, man.
We don't
Narbonne-
have anything out of that right
And
now.
Narbonne's still going strong. No investigation calling for any actions to this point.
All right. So Larry, I hope you got a picture of this guy. His name's Justin Hager, all right, from, I believe, Mountain Point High in Phoenix, Arizona. He is the second worst kind of coach you would ever want to have coaching your kids, or if you're a coaching staff, you'd ever want this guy on your team. This knucklehead, allegedly, for 2 years, by the way, he's the head girls basketball coach, and he's an assistant coach on the boys varsity football team. Mountain Point is like one of the modern days in Arizona, behind like Chandler and stuff like that, right? So this guy is passing along the game plans to all these other schools during the playoffs, championship games, regional championships, playoff games. This guy is giving the game plans. He's emailing them. And all these other schools were taking them. They were taking them. This is where I draw the line with you coaches out there. Some of you dudes are going to get fired for this. Now, it all came to a head when they decided this guy emailed some Faith Baptist school in Nevada, and they were going to play him in basketball. And the head coach got the email and sent it right back to the head coach and says, we don't cheat here. By the way, you got to check this guy out. He's sending us your stuff. Peyton 12, Walter Payton 12 at Yahoo, they investigated it, went back and found out it was Justin Hager's email account. How could you do that? You know, if you have a beef with the school, you got a beef. Take it up with the head coach, take it up with the principal. Why are you messing with the kids? The kids have nothing to do with your beef.
Was this guy making money off this?
I don't know what he was doing, but the bottom line is that where there's smoke, there's fire. He resigned. If you're innocent, you don't resign. You fight, especially when you got a teachers union and you got a pension to protect. But this dude walked away from the job, man. He's the worst kind of guy you'd have on your staff. He's a rat.
Well, let me say this. What did Al Davis say? Just win, baby. And these coaches, they want to win. And if they can get information, even if it's through the improper channels, they'll probably do it. They'll just turn their blind eye to it because they want to win, and that's what it's all about. I don't say it's right, and it isn't right, but they want to win football games.
This is paramount to somebody on Bruce Rollinson's staff, giving the entire Trinity League and everybody else the launch codes. Kind of like Bill Belichick had for the Patriots all those years when he was cheating.
Yeah, like when he got all the Rams stuff before the Super Bowl and he cheated.
So this is what it's like, and it's only hurting modern day. It's only hurting their school. So in modern day, it has nothing to do with this happening. This is just an example that you people can relate to because you live around here. All right, these other schools mean nothing. We don't know who Mountain Point is or Chandler or any of that stuff. You guys never will see those schools, never see them play. But man, this is terrible. Bad news.
I don't know what the end game was here for this guy. Right? It either had to be monetary or he had a grudge.
Right. Randy, I don't know. Randy's probably done stuff like this.
Look, Randy's right. Everybody wants to win football games, and there's a lot of stuff. You can bend the rules a little bit, and there's a lot of twisting, and there's gray area and stuff like that. But this goes way beyond that.
If you're not caught, it's a win-win from their perspective. Now listen to me here.
I never looked at it. I never opened it.
That was
and all the schools that accepted this email.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Those are the ones. Shame on them just as much as shame on this coach for sending them.
My point being, though, is he makes money. That's his win. And these other schools have opportunities.
I don't think he made
victories.
a dime, Randy. This guy kept saying he was a friend. He was a friend
of
that
crazy.
high school.
That's
almost
crazy.
Like he was almost acting like he was an alumni of the school he was sending the email to. But I'm telling you, these head coaches, if somebody if somebody from modern day staff sending something to Jason Negro's staff at Bosco, the coach should step up and say, look, somebody sent this to us. Do the right way. I mean, and again, if you look at it the other way, somebody could just be baiting you to look at something that's not even going to happen that day.
And Jason Negro would turn it down. He's an upstanding
I don't know,
guy.
man.
No,
I don't know. I ain't speaking
he's
for
a good
anybody.
guy.
I don't even want to use his name here. I'm just using it as an example so the people in Southern California can understand it. And these are the two most popular football programs in Southern California, so people understand.
Right.
But this happened in Arizona. It did not happen here. Let's just be clear on that, because you know how fake news media works around here. Everybody's running with this stuff. Only going to show the clip of us talking about it, not what the before and the after. So it's just terrible. But any way you look at it, we have nothing like that's going around here, right, fellas?
Thank God.
Come on.
Thank God. You think people are bending rules around here?
Listen, years ago, I remember El Toro was going to play somebody in a big game, and a booster had taken something, I believe, to El Toro, and I think it was during Bob Johnson was down there at the time, and I don't think he looked. I think he sent it right back to CIF because he didn't need it. He didn't need it to win. Let's face it, Johnson had it going on back then, so he didn't need it to win. So I believe he He said he didn't even look at it and let the CIF know that somebody had sent him some stuff.
I still think in a
practice.
lot of instances, coaches are looking for advantages. Now, they won't admit to it, and I think there are a lot of honorable coaches that I've dealt with in the city section and in the CIF Southern section in Southern California. But around the country, there are coaches that'll do a lot of devilish things to try to get a W.
You never know.
Well, Randy, I'm sure you suggested that to him too, to help, help the media a little bit, little interesting things here and there. Anyways, just jiving around. Listen, get out, watch some football games this weekend. There's a lot going on. Some schools, some leagues have already started.
Yeah, I know.
Big plays already started, man. So it's great.
Yeah, we got some good ones in the San Fernando Valley Mission League starting in the city section.
Yep. All right, that's it for this week. We'll be back in the studio next week. Is that that's my understanding?
I think
back
so.
in the studio.
Right. Good news. Good
On
news.
behalf of Rosenblum, my buddy Gibson, Rich Estrella saying so long, being for friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. And see y'all next week.